We are living in a world that demands a flawless existence. We exhaust ourselves chasing the perfect career, the perfect body, the perfect relationship, and a perfectly curated social media feed to prove it all exists. The result is a quiet, chronic anxiety. We wake up every morning with a creeping sensation that we are falling behind, that we are simply not enough for the standards set around us. We treat our lives like pristine porcelain. We expect to withstand immense daily pressure without showing a single blemish. But under enough weight, ceramic eventually cracks. A sudden heartbreak, a failed project, or the visible signs of aging. We are trained by modern conditioning to view these fractures as shameful ruins, flaws we must hide from the world. But what if the standard of perfection is entirely wrong? What if the things you perceive as your ugliest weaknesses are actually your greatest strengths? To escape this cycle of anxiety, we have to step off the modern treadmill. We must look toward an ancient, rebellious Japanese philosophy that demands we see our damage differently. This philosophy is called wabi-sabi. It rejects the modern illusion of perfection, built entirely on the acceptance of things that are impermanent and incomplete. The concept breaks down into two parts. Wabi describes simplicity, a closeness to the natural world, and the peace found away from the crowd. Sabi describes the beauty an object earns through the passage of time. It is the texture of wear and the physical proof of survival. This shows kintsugi, the Japanese art of repairing broken pottery. Shattered pieces are pulled together using powdered gold. Notice how the gold draws the eye. The damage is highlighted, elevating the object's history rather than hiding it. We can take this logic of gold repair and apply it to the physical and emotional fractures in our own lives. Think about how we treat our bodies. We spend billions on anti-aging products, treating the natural progression of time like a disease to cure. Through the lens of kintsugi, those wrinkles and scars are the literal gold lines of your life. They map out decades of laughter, survival, and hard-earned experience on your skin. We apply that same rigid standard to our physical environments. We build pristine showrooms filled with expensive furniture, creating untouched spaces meant to signal status rather than actually be lived in. This illustrates the Japanese concept of ma, or negative space. Removing excess clutter gives a life room to breathe. Expanding the empty corners creates focus. A home with scratched floors and cherished items holds the warmth of a lived-in history. When we stop prioritizing the output of a perfect home, we can refocus that energy into how we show up for our work and each other. We can find our ikigai, the quiet purpose that keeps our soul alive, and practice omotenashi, the act of providing wholehearted care for others without the need for an equivalent return. Demanding machine-like consistency from our partners treats a relationship like a production line. True intimacy only finds its footing in the messy, moody, and deeply human moments we usually try to hide. Fully embracing wabi-sabi is an act of quiet rebellion. It allows you to finally drop the exhausting burden of trying to control the uncontrollable. When we stop trying to freeze time, whether through cosmetic procedures, perfectly curated photos, or forced productivity, we actually get to experience time as it naturally flows. This brings us to mono no aware, the beautiful sadness of impermanence. Things hold intense value specifically because they will eventually detach and disappear. It is the spirit of ichigo ichie, one time, one meeting. A specific cup of tea or a sudden laugh with a friend is precious because that exact combination of time and space will never exist again. Within this philosophy, you don't need to be fixed to meet a modern standard. You were never broken. You are a work in progress. You are incomplete, beautifully imperfect, and entirely enough exactly as you are.